Hey everyone, thanks for joining me for today's workout. This is the first in a series of 2 workouts. We're focusing on the hips. Today's workout is on the chair and next week's will be on the reformer, but they pair together. So when you get that next video next week, you can do the whole workout first on the chair, then on the reformer, or you can do them separately. Before we begin, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. Stand in front of your chair, measuring a foot length away from the wooden platform, feet in Pilates V. Ground through your heels and grow tall through the spine. Chest is open, shoulders are low, head is high. Keep evenly weighted through your feet and imagine your back is against a wall, from your heels to your glutes to your shoulders and head. Then take a big inhale, arms out to the side and overhead. Tip your chin and roll down and off that imaginary wall. Place your hands on the pedal. Make sure your back is rounded. And then don't lean backwards into your heels as you curl forward, pressing the pedal down and raising it up. Straight arms as you lower, exhale. Inhale to float up. Scoop the abdominal muscles as you curl down each time, making sure your hips stay directly over your heels and they don't lean backwards or sway forward. Nice stretch through the back of the legs, the low back, and your hips. This time stay as low as you can and bend and straighten your elbows towards your kneecaps, bringing that pedal up towards your head. Inhaling in one direction, exhaling in the other. Keep the heels grounded and the abdominal muscles scooped. When your arms are straight, turn your fingers to face each other. Bend your elbows wide apart, bringing that pedal up behind your head and press it to straight. Inhaling and exhaling. Arms straight and you'll be curling all the way up with slow control. Imagine your backside is against that wall so you can't lean back to curl up. Use your core muscles to stabilize and round you all the way up, bone by bone. Arms lift in front of you with your ears. Big inhale. And then exhale the arms out to the side and down. Clasp your hands behind your back. Open up the chest to stretch. Float your arms out in front of you in a hug the tree position. Palms can face each other. Then drag your right toe to knee and balance on your left leg, growing tall, not sinking into the hip. Now place your foot on the pedal and you're going to slowly press it down and up with control and resistance, stabilizing from your abs, using those deep pelvic floor and low abdominal muscles to keep the pelvis nice and still and prevent sinking or dumping into your left leg. Press the pedal to the ground, lean forward and catch the chair in your hands. Then raise your leg up so that your knee is at the edge of your chair. Gentle pressure there. Make sure your back is really strong, your abs are strong so that you don't put a lot of weight into your hands. As a matter of fact, if I asked you to take your hands off the chair, you could. Point and flex your right ankle, moving that pedal up and down. And flexibility in your feet and ankles is really important to help pelvic stability. Press the pedal to the ground, stand back up with control, arms out in front of your chest. Raise the pedal up with control and resistance. Hover your foot off the pedal and balance on that left leg. And then slowly take your foot to the floor, and we'll do the other side. Drag your left toes to your knee and hold and balance there. Then place your foot onto the pedal. Grow tall every time you press your pedal down, and then stay tall and lifted as you resist the pedal up. Make sure you're not slouching into your right hip, right side. Everything is staying tall and lifted. Press your pedal to the ground, lean forward and catch the chair in your hands. Raise your knee up to the edge of the chair, point and flex your ankle. Keep your back strong, your head in line with your spine, and those abs pulled in to support your low back. As I said before, weak feet and ankles can cause pelvic instability, which then negatively affects your hips, low back, and your knee joints. Your pedal to the ground, rise up to standing tall, hover your foot off the pedal when you raise it up, balancing there, and then slowly take your foot down to the floor. Tisha is strong, so I'm using one high and one low spring for front lunges. Press the pedal to the ground, place both feet, your toes, onto the pedal, and then take your left leg up to the top of the chair and rise up. Make sure that your foot that's on the top of the chair is close to the back of the chair. Technically the front based on where you're facing, but we call it the back. And then your right toes go to the pedal. Hands can be behind your head, on your hips, or you could be holding on to a tower in front of you, or even the wall if you have balance issues. Be very careful on this. Go all the way down, just about an inch before the floor, pop right back up, closing up those springs entirely. Breathing in on the way up, breathing out on the way down. Top, go halfway down and then pump that pedal with your right leg, bending and straightening the knee, making sure to clear the chair. Hold steady there through that left leg and hip, and then when the leg straightens after about 5 or 6 repetitions, rise up to the top and we'll switch legs. So left toes are on the pedal, go down as low as you can, and then all the way up. You could use 2 high springs on this exercise if you feel like you need more assistance. Rise all the way up and then halfway down and pump that pedal, bending and straightening the back leg. Inhaling and exhaling, navel to spine, head high and shoulders low. Straighten the leg, rise all the way up to the top, and then turn to the left side of your chair. Right foot is on top on a slight turnout. Left foot is on the back half of your pedal, parallel. So the back of your heel is in line with the back edge of the pedal. Lower down and lift up, hands behind the head, on your hips, or even holding on to the tower if needed. Inhale every time you rise up, exhale as you lower down, trying to get full range of motion through that pedal, through those springs, working through the right inner thigh and glute muscles. Up, go halfway down, and then pump that pedal, bend and straighten the knee. Inhale and exhale. All the way up to the top and shake out those legs, and we'll turn around and do the other side. So left foot's on top of the chair on a slight turnout. Right foot is on the back half of your pedal, parallel. Lower and lift, making the biggest range of motion you can. Stop before you hit the floor, but then rise all the way back up, trying to close those springs. Notice which is Tisha's stronger side, where she seems more controlled, more stable, and it looks a little bit easier on this side. Go halfway down and then pump that pedal, bending and straightening your knee. Then you're going to rise all the way up to the top, turn to face your tower to come down. Once your feet are on the pedal, drop your heels and stretch.
Make me feel like you're here again.
Off the chair, and I'm pulling the chair out from the tower slightly so she has room to do hamstring stretch 3. We also call them pikes. So she's going to step on the pedal in Pilates V on her toes. Hands go to the back edge of the chair or the back side. Notice your instinct may be to raise your heels to give you a little momentum, but try to drop and flatten your feet. So drop those heels, then round your back, lean your thighs towards the chair, keeping your heels as low as possible so that you're not using momentum, and float up and down. Before you hit the floor, curl back up, scooping those abdominal muscles, rising up as high as you can through the hips. Rise up high and then go halfway down and pump that pedal, bending and straightening your knees. Abdominal muscles are helping to stabilize the pelvis as you hinge at the hips and knees here, keeping those feet stable as well so they don't slip off the pedal. And then rise up, pike up really high and lower back down. Drop your heels and stretch, give your wrists a little break. And then we're going to do this with the feet turned slightly. So heels to the left, toes to the right. And then you're going to keep your feet as flat as you can. Lean into the chair, round your back and pike up, scooping those abs, head hanging down. I like to exhale on the way up and inhale on the way down. Down and turn your heels to the other direction, and again lean into it and pike up. You'll be feeling your right oblique more this time because the heels are turned to the right. So squeeze those abs on the way up and resist going down. Breathing out on the way up, breathing in on the way down. Your heels and stretch and rest your wrists. Step off the chair. I'm changing her springs to 2 low springs for a medium to heavy weight. She's going to come to a kneeling position for kneeling cat, about a hand width away from the front of the chair, facing her pedal. And then she's going to stand in an upright position on her knees. Inhale those arms out to the side and overhead. Scoop your abdominal muscles, tip the chin, and roll forward down the spine until your hands catch the pedal, nice and wide on that pedal. Then you're just going to inhale, lengthen down, pressing the pedal down, lifting her head and tail. And then exhale, she's going to tuck her head and tail, pulling up. We're going to do several of these, keeping the hands on the pedal. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, tuck and curl. Notice she's not swaying forward and back in her thighs. Her thighs are not moving on and off of her knees. Just her pelvis is tilting forward and back over her stable femur bones. Next, she's going to curl all the way up, trying not to sit back on her heels and to really use her hamstrings, her glutes, and her core muscles to lift her. So I'm putting my thighs against her feet and stabilizing her pelvis as she lifts up to make her feel a little safer. Arms lift to the sky and open side and down. Then she opens those arms to the side to go forward again, curling over, and again I'm stabilizing her. If you have a wall that you can put your feet against, that may help you feel safer. Otherwise you may end up sitting on your heels a little bit. But look what a good job she's doing, keeping her pelvis directly on top of her knees as she goes up and down. Step backwards off the chair and then come to a seat on the chair with your feet in a narrow Pilates V on the pedal for high frogs. Hands go to the back of the chair. She's going to keep her pedal all the way up to the top height as she pikes her hips up into a bridge position. Holding them in the air, she's going to pump that pedal down and up without dropping the pelvis. She's squeezing her glutes, her thighs, and of course her arms. Shoulder blades squeeze tightly together. Chest is open, face looks forward. Breathing in and out, doing about 10 repetitions here, and then we'll do another set with the legs closed in a parallel position. Lift the pedal to the top height, keep it up as you sit down. Shake out those wrists, give your wrists a little break. And then close the legs, still on the toes, hands go to the back of the chair. Bridge up, keeping your pedal lifted, and then you're going to pump that pedal down and up, strengthening those hamstrings. Lift the pedal up high to close the springs, keep it lifted and sit down and shake out those wrists. Return to a Pilates V on the toes, hands go to the front edge of the chair for tendon stretch. Press the pedal to the ground and stand up looking at your knees. Now you're going to pike your hips up into the air, just like you did earlier on hamstring stretch 3, except now your hands are behind your body. So this one's very challenging, but pike up and down, scooping those abdominal muscles, trying to keep your legs as straight as you can. Exhale, scoop the abs, pike up. Inhale down each time. Have a seat, take a break and shake out those wrists, and then we'll go into tricep dips. So still your feet are in Pilates V, hands on the front of the chair again, and then you're going to shift your hips off of the chair and right on top of your heels without pushing your pedal down too much, and then bend your elbows to lower the body down and up. So don't push with your feet. Make sure you're moving this pedal with your arms going down and up. Last repetition, then have a seat on the chair. And again, shake out your wrists. A lot of wrist stuff with the chair exercises. Come off the chair and change to one low spring. Stand to the side of the chair facing the pedal, feet in a very narrow Pilates V. Inhale the arms out to the side and overhead. Exhale, tip your chin and dive forward, rounding over, scooping those abs. Right hand lands on the pedal, left arm swings up behind you into the air, palm faces the body. Hinging at those hips, you're going to lower and lift, pressing the pedal down, lifting the arm high behind you, and up, keeping the arm high behind you. Inhaling as you float up, exhaling as you press down. Press the pedal down to the ground and lower your left hand onto the floor. Walk back into a plank position. Your hand should be in line with each other. Your feet will be slightly apart in this plank position. And then keeping your body as level as possible, bend and straighten your right arm, pumping that pedal up and down, trying not to rotate through the pelvis or the shoulder girdle. Last one, press the pedal down, walk your feet in towards the chair, round all the way up, lifting your arms in front of you and to the sky. Inhale deeply, and then exhale them to the side and down. Clasp your hands behind your back if you need to stretch the chest, and then we'll do this on the other side. Just make sure you have lots of room around you to be able to come out into that plank position when it's time. Standing to face your pedal, inhale, arms up and overhead. Exhale, dive forward. Left hand lands on the pedal. Right hand sweeps up behind you into the air. Palm faces your body. Lift the spine up to raise the pedal up, but keep that arm lifted behind you as high as you can, and lowering the spine down. So both arms are staying nice and straight. You're hinging at your hips, scooping through those core muscles. Press your pedal to the ground, lower your right hand down to the floor, walk back into a plank position, feet apart. Make sure your body is nice and level with the ground. Then bend and straighten the elbow to pump that pedal up and down, trying not to tilt through your waist or your shoulder girdle. Press that pedal to the ground, walk your feet in, curl all the way up the spine, arms reaching in front of you and to the sky, big inhale, and then lower them to the side and down. Clasp those hands behind your back to stretch, and you did it. Thanks for joining us for today's workout, and join us for part 2 of this hip workout next week on the reformer.